Hi, folks. Larry Rolla here. Let me bring my friends on right away. Anthony, back on.
Yes, back on.
Oh, back on.
Hey, hello.
Eddie, back on. Let me tell the audience, whoever's watching, that we're 1 minute late. You know why we're 1 minute late? Because I forgot to hit live. Good thing I caught it.
Eddie threw a shoe. He had to go to the paddock.
All right, Eddie.
Yes,
you look like the shadow. That's it. You look great, just like that. Okay. Now, before we go any further, let me see if I can do this. Yeah. Okay. I want to answer this question. This guy, David, he says, "Hey, Larry, it was nice chatting to you with my wife at Garden State Mall parking lot. Wanted to take you to lunch, but we lost you when we parked." Well, that would have been great because I was very hungry. But anyway, it was nice seeing you again. And he had some horses in Monticello, and I remember him from up there. But the reason I was in Garden State Mall was to buy new pants.
Well,
I lost 40 pounds. Yeah, Anthony's gone again. He probably threw the computer out the window. I was there to buy new pants. I had to buy a size smaller because I just lost too much weight, and I'll never gain it back. I don't think I'll ever gain it back, and maybe I shouldn't gain it back. But anyway, Dave, it was nice seeing you again. And if you're listening, give me a call. And if I'm going to tell you my phone number. If I don't answer, just leave a voice message, and we can hook up again, either in the mall someplace or any place you want. And anyway, my phone number is 201-400-3485. So again, it was nice seeing you. And okay, that's that. The rest of these comments we'll talk about them later, because right now we're going to wait.
There's Anthony. Come on, Anthony.
Yeah.
You're down the stretch, Anthony.
No, he's black. He's black again. There's no picture.
Take the night off, Anthony.
He's excused from the post parade.
Oh, you have no idea how. Let's see.
There he is.
What happened now, Ant?
I don't know. I got to call Spectrum tomorrow, straighten this garbage out.
I was just telling them you got a new computer, a new speaker, a new microphone, a new everything. You change your location.
I know.
Right next to the router or rotor, whatever you call it, and you still keep banging.
You got a new hat. You got a new hat too.
Yeah, wants to pay
Where's
rate.
my old hat?
Is that a new hat?
No, it's my old one, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let me say a couple of things first, and anytime you guys want to butt in, just butt in, because I got a letter in the mail from a guy, Bill Nixon, from Illinois, and the reason I'm going to tell you a little bit about this, and the reason I called him, was because last week I mentioned all the we talked about addictions, and that gambling addiction and the chase is probably the worst by far of any addiction, mostly because it's a mental thing, not a it's unlike alcohol or drugs. That's it's just different. It works on your mind instead of just a substance abuse. So anyway, he sends me 16 pages of handwritten, and he writes that he's 80 years old. He don't know anything about computers. He watches the show, and I don't know if you could see this, but it's all handwritten. The whole thing is handwritten. He don't know how to type. He don't know how to do any of that stuff. And last week we talked about and mentioned all the people that lost tens of millions of dollars gambling. and he just wanted to mention that it's not only the wealthy that that have that habit or that get in trouble. Here's a guy, he's 80 years old. He never got married. He was in the Vietnam War. And based on what I read and what we talked about, he'd seen a lot of horrors over there. And whatever he wrote was very, very well written. And it's just too bad Hollywood is in such a mess, because a guy like this, and I told him this, that he writes very, very well and describes things very well. And I started, when I opened it up and I saw there was 16 or 18 pages of handwritten, I says, oh God, I told him I'd read it. Now I got to read it. And I did. But after the first page, I didn't want to put it down. It was really, really good. And he says, it's guys like me, guys that he worked as a janitor his whole life after he got out of the Marines, after he got out of the Army, Vietnam. And because of that experience, the adrenaline never stops. It just didn't end when he came home. I hope I'm describing it right. And he didn't know what to do to satisfy the adrenaline. He was always like hyper. And one day his friend took him to the racetrack, and needless to say, he got hooked, he got addicted, and he found that the racetrack gave him that anxiety, the hype, everything that he needed. The problem was that he made, I think he was a janitor, and he made just enough to survive, and he wasn't married, so he was able to, if you have no money to eat, you have no money to eat. He didn't have to worry about nothing. But he let me know, and his story is quite riveting, that a guy like him, you just sit there sometimes in the dark with no electric, no lights, no food, no nothing, and there's thousands of people like him out there that are addicted, and sometimes you think of doing stupid things, and he just let me know that, and the thing was so well written, and so much of his experiences in life was so well written that I was really gonna, and I told him this, I was gonna record it. I was gonna have somebody read it, record it, and play it. That's how riveting the story was. And so it's true what he says. It's not only the wealthy, it's not only the ones that can afford it that have this addiction. It's little people too, not little people, but people with, just regular jobs that just, and he said the only saving grace was that he never did get married and never did have kids. But he's right, and he sent me in this story, and I had one or two other people that called me about the same thing. And it's tough. It's just a bad addiction. And Bill, thank you for sending this, and we'll talk again. I told him what he should do is to write a book and self-publish it. He can do that all by himself. The problem is he don't know how to type. So I don't know how he gets around that, but I'll tell you, if he wrote about his experience, he was telling me about some of the experiences he faced in Vietnam, and boy, the horrors, oh boy. Anyway, Bill, thanks for sending this, and we'll talk again. The other thing I wanted to talk again. Oh, Anthony's back. You okay? You're back, Ant.
You should get him on, Larry. Why didn't you ask him to come on?
I did, but he don't know how to work nothing. He don't know. He just knows how to get the show on YouTube. That's all.
If I could do it, anybody could do it.
Well, I will ask him, because I was going to play what he wrote. I'll tell you, I had an hour conversation with him yesterday, and he's a very entertaining guy, and he speaks for all the the average people that have normal jobs out there that have an addiction, and it's quite a story. I'm going to call him again and ask him if he would come on.
Yeah, I'd like to hear that.
He says he don't. He says, "Well, I'm going to ask him." All right. The other thing I wanted to talk about, and this is what I want you guys to butt in, because every day, every single day, I get reminded, scolded, or whatever. I get reprimanded or praised about what happened to me in 1984 when the Racing Commission asked me to cooperate during an investigation, and I refused to cooperate. And every day, because most of the day I sit home, and when I'm tired of hearing the same news over and over again, I turn on YouTube and I listen to some of these podcasts, and I listen only to music or the podcast of guys like Joe Molino and all the mob stuff. But 99% of the mob genre, mob podcast is guys that cooperated with the authorities and put a lot of people in jail, and the most famous one now is Skinny Joey Molino,
Michael Franchise,
and Michael Franchise. But you see, here's the problem. It gets, and this problem wasn't a problem until Joey Molino came on the scene. Now, Joey Molino, he hates rats. He calls Michael Franchise a rat. He calls everybody a rat. If you talk to a rat, he considers you a rat. He's completely biased.
Radical.
He's
radical.
He's just a fanatical guy when it comes to that. There's no change in his mind. He don't even want to hear it. He just, if you try to explain it, he'll just say, "Get out of here, motherfucker," just like that. And that's how he talks, and that's how he. And I can understand it, because the guy spent 25 years in jail. He spent years in solitary confinement, and probably if I had to go through that, just picture yourself locked in a closet, a 6x8 room with no light, no nothing for years. You go crazy. He did it. And I think if it was me, maybe I would feel the same way. I don't want to know nothing. You ratted on somebody, you're a rat, and I don't want you anywhere around me. Now, he has the largest podcast, the fastest growing podcast of anybody. It's growing. He has well over 100,000 subscribers. He's Instagram. He's all over the place, and he just opened up a steak place, and the place is packed. Lines around the block. I mean, and like he said,
it's a cheesesteak place.
Cheesesteak place, right? And like he said, he can go anywhere, and everybody loves him. These are his words. Everybody loves him. Everybody this, everybody that, and he flies back and forth and everything. And he has a great following and everything else. Now, along with that name comes the word alleged. Now, alleged means, in my mind, I don't know what the dictionary says, but alleged means that whatever they allege, it's 99% true, but they just didn't prove it yet.
It's likely but not proven.
It's likely but not provable. Now I'm not going to get too much into that, but I can tell you I have a lot of good friends in Philadelphia. I have a lot of good friends in all over the country, and I think I probably know. The right story, the right answer. I think I probably know things that were not said yet. So, and I'm certainly not going to say it because it's just the things that I heard second and third hand, but that's beside the point. The guy still spent 20, 25 years in jail and half of that time in solitary confinement. So it's hard for me to say, Joey, you got to take each case as an individual case. You got to take it because let's take my case, for instance, in 1984. In 1984, I had two members of my family put up a lot of money. I had Stanley Dancer go on the line for me. I had Charles Slutsky go on the line for me. I had 7 wealthy owners. By 1984, I owned a barn, 40 stalls at Sunshine Meadows. I had 7 homes all scattered all around the country. 2 of them were double wide trailers, but the rest were homes. I had a lot of money. Anthony's back. I had a lot of money. I had probably maybe 50 horses, 40 horses, 2-year-olds in training. Bradbury worked for me. He was training them. And I had horses at 3 or 4 different racetracks. I was doing very, very well. Then this situation came up where they wanted me to rat on somebody. That kid that used to work for me gave me the numbers. Now, everybody knows this whole story, so I'm not going to go into it. I refused to do it. Because I refused to do it, and I refused to do it because that's my nature. I didn't even have to think about it. I mean, I don't even know if I was taught. It's just in my DNA. I'm not gonna tell on nobody. I'm not gonna do it. But as you get older and you get into these situations, these little things, it's not like somebody hit the teacher in the back of the head with a rubber band and they turn around and say, who did it? And I know who did it.
It was me.
It becomes a little more serious than that. And as you get older, it gets more and more serious. Now, when I refused to cooperate, not only did I lose everything that I had, millions of dollars trying to fight to get back, millions of dollars, all the horses and everything else. But aside from the money and the horses, I disappointed and crushed 2 of my family members and 7 owners that pumped in millions of dollars for me to get to where I was at, all because I wouldn't rat, wouldn't tell the kids, wouldn't tell on the kid that fixed the race. And I told the story once before. Now, after 84, by 87, I lost all my money. I mortgaged all my homes for appeals and everything in 3-4 different states. I lost everything. Now, after all of that, got to the point, there were highs and lows. There were times when I was okay, and there were times when I was living on a park bench and going into supermarkets and stealing food and eating food as I walked through the aisles. And one day, I asked 2 wise guys. One was a young guy and one was an older guy. And I asked separately. And I asked the older guy, I says, look, you know the whole story. Did I do the right thing by not ratting and losing everything? And he says, absolutely. And then I asked the younger guy the following day, and he says, you should have made some kind of deal with them, pay them off, give them something, whatever the suspension they were going to get, make it their worth their while, and tell the commission what you wanted. Now, there's two sets of thoughts there, and even up to today, I still don't know. I still can't look. I shouldn't say I can't look them in the eye. But my friends that helped me and put a lot of money into me to get to that point, I have trouble when I see them. I look in their eyes, but I have a problem because I disappointed them. And the same thing with the owners that I have. Every one of them owners got out of the business after I did what I did. They just got out of the business. and except for one, wouldn't accept any phone calls I get, and I couldn't blame him. So did I do the right thing? Now, what would I have done if I was married and had 2 or 3 little kids? What would I have done? I don't know.
Do the same thing.
I don't know. So these are the things that I would like to ask if and this could never happen, but I would like to ask Joey Molino, who's rightfully so in my mind, rightfully so, can call all these guys rat motherfuckers, and that's what he calls them. And he has the right to do it because he paid the price. I understand that completely. But what happens if Joey Molino was married and had kids? He took the same oath as to get married when he got married as he did when he became a made guy, allegedly. So I don't know. All I know is that I know between Frank Collada, Larry Mazza, and 1 or 2 other guys, it was a lot for them. Frank Collada wanted to kill himself. I mean, he just couldn't live with it for 10 years. He was having a major problem. But what are you supposed to do when you dedicate your life, even you break the oath of marriage, you come and then you make an oath saying that I don't care if your kid's in the hospital dying, if your wife's giving birth, if we call you, you're coming here. How do you make that kind of oath? How do you do that? Now, allegedly, that never happened to Joey Molino. Allegedly, which means 99%. Allegedly means that he was the boss of the crew that he was with, and but I understand that too. I understand it because his father was involved in a big way. His father was a heavyweight. Joey was brought up in that he had no escape. He had no escape, and you follow right. And I had that experience. I'm not going to mention any names, but I had that experience with kids that were with me that were born into that kind of life, and you just can't help it. You just can't help it falling into that stuff. So I don't know, and what I'm going to ask now is in the comments, if people hear this, what do you think about Joey Molino's stance on and I didn't mention his name in the on Facebook or anything. I was going to talk about Joey Molino because I don't want him or anybody else to think that I use his name, because whoever uses his name, they get a million views. I'm not doing it for that. That's why I didn't mention that. But it torments me because I gave up everything I ever wanted to do. It wasn't only that I wanted to do it. I was almost born to do it. I was born to race. I was born to be competitive, and I gave it all up just not to rat on somebody, and I didn't. And then when I didn't, the people that helped me get to the point where I was wouldn't answer the phone except for my relatives. And now, not one of them came to the park where I was living on a park bench. All they ever say is, without me being around, you know Larry Rolla? Yeah, stand-up guy, good stand-up guy. In the meantime, you don't answer my phone call. In the meantime, nobody come to the park and try to help me. Nobody did nothing. I asked 2 people during that time if they could lend me some money. And one says, let me ask my wife. The other one hung up.
That's the worst answer.
And so had I ratted on this kid, I probably would have had a great career doing what I was born to do and what I love to do. And instead, I went through the worst years of my life after that, when the people that helped me get to that point wouldn't pick up the phone because I disappointed them. Now, just picture if them people that were well-off people, wealthy people, and they were grown-ups, they got mad at me, and rightfully so. Just like Joe Molino has the right to say what he about rats because he spent 20, 25 years in jail and half of that time in solitary confinement. These people too. And one of them let me know, I spent $1 million fucking to help you get to it. Now you're just gonna let me blow all my money. And I love this business too. And I helped you get to this point. You better do the right thing. Now, what's the right thing? What's the right thing? In the meantime, so anyway, in the comments, I don't even know the right question to ask. Is Joey Molino right in just saying unconditionally, a rat is a rat? I don't care. He labeled Michael Franchise a rat because that Michael Franchise, Sonny Franchise. Now there's the most stand-up guy in the history of Casa Nostra. Why? Because he says he spoke to his son Michael, who's a rat. That's how he feels. That's how Joey feels. And I just I understand.
Michael Franchise didn't hurt nobody. He played along with the government for other reasons. He didn't pinpoint or name anybody. If the FBI comes to you or the government comes to you and shows you tapes of what this guy's saying, what that guy's saying, it's a whole different ballgame then. Now you're hearing it from your own people, what their intentions are for you. So you think a little different. In your case, Larry, we were brought up that way. Our gut, our pride and the way we were brought up in the street, being a rat was wrong. But it's wrong if everybody sticks to their guns. Now, in these days, there's more rats than there's stand-up people. It ain't like the old school times when, these guys went to if they had to go 40 years, they went 40 years. They didn't say boo.
See, the other bad thing about Joey Molino, if you talk the way I'm talking and the way you're talking, he would label you a rat too. He just takes these things to the extreme. But when somebody spends their life in hell, 25 years of their life in hell, and they come out and they were put there because of rats, you almost can't blame them. The only thing is, I could never feel comfortable, sitting down and having dinner with a guy like that. That is just that one. And there's a lot of people, like I said, there's a lot of people that agree with him 100%. But when you say, and I'll give you one example. I'll give you Mikey Scars. Okay, he probably put away 80 people. But when you hear why he turned, the guy had a monstrous, two or three monstrous businesses, making tons and tons of money, always kicked up, was John Gotti Jr.'s right-hand man, did everything right. Then he went to jail. He took a pinch and was going to go to jail for a long, long time.
And they never took care of his family.
They took all his money.
Yeah.
They left his wife with no money, nothing. So what are you supposed to do at that point? What are you supposed to do? You did everything right. You did everything right in that game. You were well liked by everybody. He was a monstrous money earner and everything else. Then he gets pinched. He takes the pinch. He goes to jail. And then nobody in that family takes care of his wife and his kids. And what are you supposed to do? Just sit in jail like a fucking mutt and let these guys that you dedicated your life to and everything, and a lot of them that he helped and a lot of them he stopped from getting killed, just do that to you? What I don't get it. What are you supposed to become, a fucking mutt? And these are the things that if Joey Molino was ever able to sit with me or I was able to sit with him, these are the things that I want an answer for. I don't want to just hear, well, fuck it. I don't want to talk about it. He's a fucking rat. Is a rat. Is a rat. Is a rat. I don't want to talk about it. There's got to be more to the conversation than that. Now, there are fucking guys that are just out and out rats that don't want to go to jail for 5 years or 10 years. But there's situations like Frank Collada. What are you supposed to do when you're in jail? You dedicate. You kill 20 fucking guys for Spalatro. You bury them. You do everything you have to do. And then all of a sudden you get pinched, you're in jail, and they come with a recording saying that Spalatro told the guys in Chicago that it was you that was doing this and this and this, and when it was really him, and they told him to take care of business immediately, and within 48 hours you're going to get killed in jail. What are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to do?
Larry, we touched on this in another podcast.
Yeah, so we did.
Yeah, you know what I believe in. And like I said in that other podcast, this is the life you picked. You picked this life, So when you pick that life, those are the ramifications that you have to put up with. You get pinched, you get pinched. You do the time. That's it. So.
Well, that's Joey Molino's. That's what Joey Molino thinks, and anybody
I understand that. Yeah. Well, and don't forget, Larry. And not for nothing, but you stayed out of jail. You stayed out of jail because somebody didn't rat.
You're right. And that happened to be
your own. So it goes both ways, really. So. I just feel if that's the life you want to live, if you want that, everything that comes with that life, the big houses and cars and the money and everything, that's the chance you're going to take.
I just feel the only problem I have is I just feel that when you call Sonny Franchise a rat because he spoke to his son, who in some people's eyes he wasn't a rat.
That's
going. I mean, that's
wrong.
Yeah.
That's how he is. He's
I understand
at the extreme, and who knows? You see, the word alleged covers up a lot of sins. Mm-hmm. Alleged stops people from saying, Joey, you're a made guy. Joey, you were the boss of that crew. What are you doing a podcast? Who's the fucking rat? But the word alleged stops all of that. And the fact that he took pleas and everything else and went to jail and did the time, it's very, very hard to argue against a guy that was put in hell because of a rat. And then you get blinded. You think that every, just like a racehorse, if you blind a racehorse and run him down the track and put a tree trunk in front and he hits it, or he can see, but you put a tree trunk on the track and he falls over it, that horse will be jumping shadows the rest of his life. And so I don't know. I want to get this off my chest because it haunts me, because since 1984, I couldn't get anything going. And like I said last week, you're suspended driver for 2 years for driving. It's like putting him in jail. The only thing I ever wanted to do in my life was race. And from the time I was probably 18 years old until now, all I wanted to do was race horses. And they stopped me. They stopped me from that. And I lost a lot of good, powerful friends that gave me opportunities. These 7 people that I had, 3 of them gave me opportunities where today I'd be a very, very, very wealthy guy. And I gave it all up to have the reputation that I'm a stand-up guy. But people say don't file for bankruptcy because you'll have a dark stain on you, and that he's a bad business guy, filed for bankruptcy and this and that. In the meantime, you can file for bankruptcy and then all of a sudden make a score or start a business. And the minute you put $10,000 in the bank, you'll be given all the credit cards, regardless what your credit score is. credit score is, you'll be getting, and then you're right back in top. And if you have a company that can help other people, are they going to say, oh no, he's the guy that 7 years ago he ratted on this one kid? They forget. They just forget. So right today, I still don't know if I did the right thing or the wrong thing. So
if the guy that you helped showed some appreciation and some respect to you, you probably would feel a lot better about it. But since the guy you helped didn't help you or didn't show appreciation or even say thank you or any kind of respect, that makes it hurt a lot more.
Well,
they forgot about you. Let's face it.
Okay, now we got to get off of that because it gets to the point where all it does is create a question that I can't answer and nobody can answer for me. Like the old wise guy said, you did the right thing, kid. In the meantime, the old wise guy that I asked was penniless, was broke. He had no more earning potential. All the people that he spent a lot of years in jail. And when he come out, all his street money was gone. Everything was gone. And he just lives. He lives like, this is what I am. This is it. And so he lives like that. The younger guy, he's got a lot of money,
And Larry, somebody could say right now, no, I would never rat this and that, like I said myself. But I think when the time comes and you're facing that many years, you're facing 25 years or 30 years or whatever, who knows what you're going to do, at that point.
99% of the people are going to.
It's tricky. So
yeah,
you're not going to get an answer that's going to be correct because you don't know what they're going to really do at the end.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm not sticking up for the guy, but Joey Molino, he was facing life in prison more than one or two occasions. And he just kept his mouth shut and was willing to do it. He had good attorneys and they made deals and everything else, but he never ratted. He spent his time in jail. And you gotta give him credit. You gotta give him credit for that. The only thing is, you gotta keep an open mind. You gotta keep and that word alleged is protecting you a lot from people saying a lot of things. So who knows? Anyway, all right. Let me
Larry, let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
People back in that days, the people who helped you out, okay, where are they today?
They're all wealthy people, all in good shape.
Well, you did not hurt them. You hurt yourself. That's what you did.
Yeah.
You didn't hurt them because they either be dead or they're still successful. They still got money. They're still living a good life. So when you look in the mirror, you did the right thing as a person. You're not a rat. So just disregard that. Pass it. Turn the page. Don't look in the rear view mirror. Look in the windshield. Look forward. You could probably still get back into training if you had the desire and the will to. I bet you those people would help you again because you're knowledgeable and you're a good person.
Right.
So take that to the bank, my man.
Right. That's right. He's right.
Okay.
Got a point there.
There's another thing I want to talk about, and that's the business that Freddie Hudson and everybody that I have on Thursday nights. We talk about trying to save the business, harness racing, and here's because I have a lot of time. I get so crazy sometimes because I don't have a job. I have nowhere to go. And so sometimes I just get in my car and I drive up and down the turnpike and I think.
You want to be my assistant trainer?
What's that?
You want to be my assistant trainer?
No.
No.
I just bought a 2-year-old.
So good. You did?
Yeah.
You'll tell me about that after this.
All right.
And here's what I was thinking today. That the drivers, trainers, and the breeders, and the people in the race office at almost every racetrack, they basically took the game, harness racing, from fairgrounds to major big business. They did it all. They improved the game and they brought it to another level. And the people, they did their job. And the people in charge were the people that I call political appointees that are put into positions of total incompetence. Them people and racetrack owners that
ruined the game
because of business reasons, they did absolutely nothing. At the same time, now I'm talking about 50 years ago, 60 years ago, when they were every other business, whether it be the tobacco business, the food business, no matter what it was, they promote. Everybody knew cigarettes was killing you, but yet their massive advertisements and promotion, they just kept going and going. Same thing in the food business, same thing in the medical field. Every business, they just promote. Harness racing, the people that were supposed to do that never did it, while the people that put on the whole show that gets no respect in many cases, they're the ones that brought the game every year to a better level. And it's sad. And now they finally got people in charge that know what the hell they're doing. And I think it's too late. I don't think they will ever be able to, maybe like they say, like Michael says, and maybe 1 or 2 racetracks in Kentucky or something they'll be able to keep. But for the most part, they'll it's too bad. All because of people, political appointees put into positions of total incompetence, and the owners of the racetracks just they got in it at the right time to do what they were doing, and when it started to change, rather than spend money promoting it, they just sell it to investors. Anyway, that's all I have to say. That's all. We'll talk about whatever you want to talk about. In the meantime, I'm gonna put comments up. Starting with my friend Jesse Black. Please hit the like on the way in. Hit the like on the way in. Where I don't know. So hit the like. Okay.
Like, subscribe, and ring the bell.
And subscribe and ring the bell. Larry, you forgot all the comments and questions on last week's show. Should I re-ask mine? Absolutely. Yeah, ask it. Okay. There she is, Joe. Angel. Hello, Larry.
Angel IQ.
Angelique.
Angel IQ.
Angelique.
Okay. Sheldon Glass. Anyone remember driver David Tolman? David Tolman used to be the second trainer for Jerry Silverman way back in the early 70s. He died of cancer. He has it right. He was a young driver at Roosevelt and died of cancer in the 70s. They had a plaque of him in the Roosevelt clubhouse. Yes, David Tolman was a really nice kid. He worked for Jerry Silverman, and he was just a good guy. He died 20. Yeah, he was a young kid. Sad. Good kid. David. Hi, Larry. Fix your camera. You're all blurry. Wow.
No, you look clear.
I look clear. David, I'm all clear. They tell me, fix your camera. You're all blurry. Okay. Okay. Sundance says hello to everybody. Sundance, that's
Sundance.
and she said hello to Angelique.
Hello.
Okay, there they are again. Hello, everyone. Hello, Anthony. Okay, David. Eddie has 2 horses in the 4th Thursday. What do you think, Eddie? You got 2 horses in Thursday? That's today. No, that's Thursday.
No, Thursday. Yeah, the 4th race. I should be on the board with both of them. They're in the same race. I think I should really one Dolce Sada should really reach. She raced big last time. She finished 2nd.
Box the exacta.
And no, I think she'll really run big.
What
But
kind
the
of race?
following,
What kind of
Huh?
race is it?
I dropped them down from 25 3 life to 16 3 life. So it's a good drop, and yeah, they really breeze good this weekend. So
The right distance too?
yep, a mile. They'll be really tough.
Okay. Eric, Larry, nothing on TV worth the time. On View today, one of the hosts called the Pope the most Jesus-like person ever. I lost my lunch on that discussing. Well, I don't watch The View. And
Yeah.
okay.
I
Tommy,
don't know, but I ain't saying nothing.
yeah, don't say nothing because you get in, you can't argue with The View. You can't, I
Can't get
mean,
into
it's just
politics or
Forget
religion.
about the View. The View is a bunch of forget about
Yeah.
it.
Tommy Stiggs. See my friend Tommy Stiggs right here? He says, "Good evening, Larry. I just popped on. I wish you would have come on earlier because I spoke for about 20 minutes on Joey, on Joey. and Tommy was the one that helped Joey Molino put that whole thing together. He was very instrumental in putting that whole thing together. And the reason I talked about him was because that his unwavering hatred for people who became government informants and rats. And I on his side, I said that if I spent 20 years, 25 years in jail, like Joey Molino did, and half of that time in solitary confinement, I'm pretty sure that I would feel the exact same way. But I believe I would keep an open mind because when you call Sonny Franchise a rat because he talked to his son, that's the extreme, and I could never get to that point. But of all the all podcasts that are out there, I seem to gravitate to him whenever I'm home at night or in the afternoon. I just get a kick at him because of all of the guys, I could relate to him the most by far. But he has, I can't say nothing about it because if you walk the walk and you talk the talk, there's really nobody could nobody could say nothing. But I just think that. And I lived through it. I pulled a Joey Molino when it came to everything I ever worked for in my life. I pulled a Joey Molino. I took the heat. And what it did was it left me 40 years of total destruction. Half the time you just feel like a mutt. It just the quality of life becomes nothing. You don't even want to live. But I didn't rat, and I don't know, and that's why
you know what's strange when you become made, you take the omerta. It's a code of silence. You don't even exist in the real world. You only exist within yourselves. So by going on social media, what about that code of silence? Everybody who's on social media is really breaking that oath.
Yeah, but
So how far can you go back?
Joe, that's where the word I said is the operative word, alleged. Once you put alleged in there, then it's 99% of the people that have alleged before their name. It only means exactly what you said before. It's true, but it's not. It hasn't been proved yet. So he could say that's alleged. It's never proved. So I can go here, even though I get reports from friends that a lot of people are not happy with what he's doing. In the meantime, there's more people happy with what he's doing. He don't skirt anybody. He goes wherever he wants to go. He's a very, very entertaining guy, a very, very smart guy, a very, very sharp guy. But because of the word alleged, it stops him from having to explain how do you get away without ever paying a debt that you owed. What about all of these stories of you growing up? You know what I mean? It goes on and on and on and on.
Yeah. It's a
want to
long
have that.
story.
I don't want to talk about the guy. Look, anybody that spends 25 years in jail, and anybody
No,
that has,
you gotta give him credit. I'm not.
you got to give him credit. But there's a lot of people that, and I don't want to get into it anymore because Tommy Stiggs, my friend, and by the way, he has a great show. I used to listen every single morning, and maybe I'll get back to it now because things are getting better with me. and maybe I used to pop on every morning. I get up at 6 o'clock. He starts his Tommy Stiggs Social Club at 7 o'clock every morning on YouTube, and he talks about everything, and he knows the mob guys in Jersey. He knows everything about everything. He's very, very sharp guy, and like I said, he was responsible for helping Molino put that whole podcast together. And he's a good guy, and he helped me. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't know how to do half this stuff. But I can't. I don't want to get into it because Tommy feels the same way I feel. I mean, the same way Joey feels. And when you get to people that are so fanatical about a certain city that won't even bend, it's tough. It's tough because when you're born and raised in the street and you've been around mob guys your whole life, if you go out with a mob guy, what else are you going to talk about? So I could never have a conversation with Joey Molino, or I'd feel uncomfortable as well as I know Tommy Stiggs. I would feel uncomfortable sticking up for somebody that's a rat because Tommy on his show says rats are rats. And Joey's right, and I can say I pulled a Joey Molino, and so anyway, it's just tough. But anyway, Tommy, thanks for stopping in, and hopefully I'm going for one more situation in fact, tomorrow at 2:00, and in 2 weeks I will have if the report is good, I'll be hopping back on your show in the mornings because things in my life will be getting back to normal. So anyway, Tommy, thanks for stopping in. And someday me and you are going to go out to dinner and we're going to talk about, because there's a lot more I could say, but I don't want to say it over here, but we can talk about it privately over dinner. And I don't think I'm going to sway you in my direction because 90% of what Joey says and what you said is true. Rats are rats are rats. But sometimes there's a reason why you have to do what you have to do. And when you dedicate your whole life to that situation, and then they completely do what they're not supposed to do, they expect you to sit in jail like a fucking mutt for the rest of your life while they strip you and your family of everything.
You got to know both sides of the story. You got to know the real facts.
Okay, that's enough. Okay. Jesse Black. Hey, Tommy, how are you? Okay, he's talking to Tommy Stiggs. Tommy Stiggs. Hello, Jesse. I'm well. Hope you're well. Okay. Them are my two friends. Roy Anderson. No one cares about the horse players. Without them, the horse racing is doomed. Well, he's probably right. I don't know.
He still didn't admit about Greyhound.
Eric, Larry, I commend you for following your heart and doing the right thing. All right, here's a guy that said I did the right thing. I wonder if I did the right thing if I had 3 kids and my wife was pregnant. Well, naturally, I'm not married. I have no kids, so it's easy to make that decision. Just like
allegedly.
Allegedly. Yeah. Okay. Hello, Tommy. Michael, Tommy Stiggs. Yeah, he has a fan club here. Well, I got a lot of these people here who come from Tommy's place. Yeah, when I was doing Tommy's thing, a lot of people on his show came over to my show. I owe Tommy a lot. Tommy's a good guy. Tommy's a good guy. I just got the last 4 or 5 months. I just got screwed up, and I have so many things going on that when you're in good health and a good frame of mind, you can handle a lot of things. When you spend half the time in a hospital, the other half the time and doing other things, and you get all screwed up. Okay, let's see. Once you talk to the authorities, you are a rat. Okay, there's Tommy Dimes. Once you talk to the authorities, you are a rat. And that's well, what are you gonna say? That's they think like that. Hey, look, I have well, last week when Joe Rico was on, I told him that I brought these heavyweight mob guys from the Bronx where Joe Rico was born. His father had a restaurant there. I brought them up to his restaurant in Monticello, and them guys are very good friends. They feel the same way. They feel the same way as Tommy Dimes. And I could tell you, I'm very friendly and was very friendly with all the Gigante kids, and they all feel the same way. That whole, it is what it is. But I don't know. Tommy Stiggs, Michael Franchise didn't testify against anybody. Okay.
That's true. That's 100% true.
No, well, I didn't say that. It was Joey Molino that said Sonny Franchise, Michael's father, was a rat because he spoke to Sonny, to Michael, and Michael's a rat. So in Sonny and Joey Molino's eyes, Michael Franchise is a rat. And because his father, who is the most stand-up guy in the history of Costa Rica, because he spoke to his own son, he's a rat too. That's how fanatical Joey is. And that's my only point. Just give it a little break. Don't get to the, because I'm sure that if somebody made an all-out effort, they would. I better not say nothing.
I mean, Sonny Franchise was he was rock solid.
Tommy Stiggs just said Michael Franchise didn't testify anybody. He's
right. And Michael told everybody that I'm not going to hurt anybody. I'm just playing with the government. But I'm leading them on. I'm not going to mention no names. I'm not going to testify. I'm just working. I'm playing a game with the government, and that's the truth. But
Joey Molino said that Sonny Franchise is a rat because he spoke to his son, who's a rat. He said that. I didn't say that. Anyway,
Sonny Franchise did not stick up for his son when he went to his sit down.
You're right.
He said, if my son is wrong, we know the rules. Do whatever you got to do. He didn't say my son would never do that or you would never do that. He says, let the cards fall where they fall. And that's it. He didn't take sides for his son. So how could you say that? That Sonny Franchise he was the closest thing to the chin that there was.
You see, the problem is you'll never, ever get Joey to sit down and have a conversation with you, because the minute you start talking like that, he'll say, well, you're a fucking rat too, and he'll get up and walk away. And you have to respect that because of what he did. He was facing life in prison. He never said a word. He was going to do the time and everything else. He had good lawyers. He got out of it and everything else. So, listen,
I respect the guy too. I know what he did, and he did the right thing, but you got to look at the whole story.
Yeah, but he don't want to look at the whole
story. That's
Okay, here's a question. I don't know the answer to this. Bill Robinson trained at the Meadowlands. I don't know, but I know that he had Gelrod and he had a couple of other people that were training his horses that were dealing with him. But I was out of the game by that time.
Yes, Bibb. That's Bibb, right? William Roberts?
No. This is the guy from Bill Rod. I believe that's the guy from Canada.
Yeah. He had 100 horses.
You're talking about Bib Roberts.
Yeah.
That's somebody
Oh, all
different.
right.
Franchise buried that Jewish guy. Well, yeah, but I know that whole story. But that Jewish guy, I can't get into it. Sundance. Hello, Tommy Stiggs. Oh, she's one of his listeners. Hit the like button, ring the bell, and subscribe. It's free. Very good, Sundance. Tommy Stiggs. Hello, Sundance. Tommy Stiggs. I have to take him to dinner. We got to have this talk now. Sundance, you worked at Pocono Downs? ? Did you ever have the white pizza? It was the best. That's Eric saying that to you, Sundance. Angel, hello, Tommy. Tommy Stiggs. I think Angel came here because of Tommy. Michael, hey guys, a few weeks ago I messaged in about the horse you were helping train, Larry. I really like your show, and I just wanted to let you know I said it's back in. Okay, let me address this, and I addressed it last time. The reason I left, I've been around a long time. I've seen a lot. I've been through a lot. Not that I personally, but I've been there when certain things happen. When I'll just say this, and this is about the horse Assad. When Peter wanted to claim him, I was looking at the Ragusan sheets because the Ragusan sheets could give you the horse's performance for years back, rather than for his whole history, rather than just 8-9 lines on the program. And I wanted to pick a horse that was an old classy horse that had a lot of back class. And we did. And we claimed Assad. Now when we claimed Assad, he was quick on one front foot. He had a quarter crack on the other one. And the front shoes were one size too small. That's why he was quick. Anyway, we corrected all of that. He was sour. I had him scoped. He was loaded with ulcers. He was loaded with worms. His blood count was 7 million on the dot. It should be a normal blood count is maybe 11, 12 million. So naturally, I put him on. I fixed his feet. We patched everything up. We cleaned everything up. We put some glue-ons on him, patched the quarter crack. And he had a back leg that it was either an old check ligament, but it was in pretty good shape. He had a weak back end. I had that whole back end injected and everything else, and gave him a lot of work, a lot of rest in the fields, freshened him right up. He went from not eating at all to eating 3-4 times a day, screaming for his meals. He was completely dehydrated. We rehydrated him, and that's what we did. All during this time, I tried to get his blood up. Now, I know enough that when this happens, because I lived through it for a lot of years at the Meadowlands, dealing with Dr. DeLauro, and with horses like this. And horses like this, when you can't raise their blood count, it's only because of overabuse of epigen. And so when I realized that, I spoke to just to make sure that I was correct. I spoke to a trainer that I become very friendly with, because I used to spend all day at the farm at the training center, and he looked back on his computer. And he was an old timer, and he knew all the trainers and all the jockeys and everything else. And he told me the history of every jockey that rode that horse and the trainers that had him when he was doing good. So I put everything together, and I come to the conclusion that I couldn't help this horse. The best I could do was when when I got sick, we handed him over to a trainer down there, and he finished second. I believe he finished second 2 times in a row. I think, I'm not sure, but I knew at that time. I called up the trainer, and I told him, I says, listen, I said, he's 100% sound. The crack is patched. He has glue. I had glue-ons put on, and he was in real good shape. Fresh, eaten, not dehydrated. The ulcers were gone. The worms were gone. Everything is gone. Yet his blood stayed at 7 million. So I told the trainer, and I said, look, he's going to race as good as he could. I don't know if it's good enough to beat the 5s, but he's going to be greatly improved, because I think he already had one or 2 races with me.
Larry, excuse me, I have to take a bathroom break.
Go ahead. We'll still be here.
I'm sure you will.
So anyway, so I told him, I says, listen, if you can't get the blood up, it's going to be a useless thing. So he finished second 2 times in a row, and then I believe he got claimed, and then he finished up the track. He was just getting worse and worse and worse, and I believe he got claimed. Now, when he got claimed, he was laid up for 30 days, and he puts him in a 5 claimer, and he wins by open lens in hand. Very, very handy. So, look, if you want to face reality, there's no. I'll put it to you this way: you couldn't have got him any sounder, because he was 100% sound. You couldn't have blamed it on ulcers, because I cleared up all the ulcers. He was completely hydrated. He was worm free. He was fresh as an arrow because of the paddock time. He spent a month and a half in the paddocks, just doing nothing but having fun. He must have gained 100 pounds, and he was in the best shape he was ever in, except his blood count. Now he gets claimed, and he is what he is. Now there's no the difference between whatever his training schedule was with this new guy in mind is basically the same. It's training a thoroughbred is basically the same. The training board is the same just about for every horse. So it's certainly not the training method. It's certainly not. It's certainly not equipment. There's no equipment. When he went in hand, he had the same identical equipment as when he raced. Hind bandages and a hood, a blinkers, half blinkers. That's it. Same bit, same. Everything is exactly the same, and he wins in hand. Now, so to me, I either have to go what I believe happened. Now, one or two things. It's either, and I hate to say this because I don't want to accuse anybody, because I don't know. Maybe he lit a candle and God made the horse better. I don't know. But if you go by the facts, the horse's blood has to be higher than 7. Now, how did he get to that point? I think I know, but I don't want to accuse anybody of that, because that's the only thing it could possibly be. He had no problem with his breathing. He had no problem with anything except his low blood count. So rather than me go that synthetic epigen route, which is running rampant at all of these tracks now, and there's a couple of epigen simulators out there that they don't have a test for. So is that what he's getting? I don't know. Could it be the training schedule? No. Could it be a change of equipment? No. What could it be? He couldn't have been any sounder. So I decided to walk away. I made a mistake. I didn't do my homework. The game basically passed me by in the area of synthetic drugs. every drug that's outlawed now is made synthetically, leaving one or two things out of it where where it don't come back positive, and that's it. And also, I was told that, and I'm not accusing anybody, but I was told that using a battery, a hot shot, in the thoroughbred racing, especially at the smaller tracks, almost everybody uses it.
Allegedly.
That's what I was told. I don't know. Allegedly, yeah. So maybe it's a combination of, if I had a guess and I win $1 million if I guess, I would guess that he's on some type of epigen, and I would guess that if somebody took his blood right now, it wouldn't be 7, because 7 is near death. 7 is very, very low, and maybe a little help from a little battery that a jockey may have. That's a guess. I have no proof of that. All I know is that I did the best I could. When I couldn't get the blood higher than 7 million, I knew I was in trouble. I tried everything I could. I gave as much iron as I could. I gave as much B12 as I could, and all of this in jugs, rehydrating them. And I did everything that you're supposed to do every day, 30 cc's of Keiko Copper every single day. Nothing, no matter what I did, raised that blood. So, and I know that's a telltale sign of a horse that's suffering from epigen. And when you stop, that blood gets to a certain level and
crash. That's all.
So anyway, that's it. So I know that he's in for
10 on tomorrow in the last race. He's 5-1. He cannot win.
Well, I don't know if he could win or not.
He
I mean,
can't.
look, whoever has him, I wish him the best. I only hope that whatever they're giving this horse is something that's going to help him become the horse that he used to be, and that don't hurt him. And I hope whatever you're giving him, if anything, but there is no trainer that can come to me, including the guy who's training this horse right now, and says, all I do is I switch from Purina to Omaline, I just give him straight oats with a little corn and some molasses. You can't do that to me. It is. In harness racing, you could say, I let the hobbles out 4 inches, I lowered his head, and I changed his shoes to all 4 aluminums. That's a reason, and that's a reason that made 2,000 claimers into world champions. But with the thoroughbreds, that's not the case. Anyway, that's it. I hope he races good, and so that's my explanation. I bowed out because I couldn't get myself to do what had to be done. But I'll tell you one thing, I did ask Peter, the owner. I says, this is what I believe. And if you're willing to do it, now the horse was at that time, the horse was under his name as trainer. I says, I never did this, and I'm not going to do it, especially because the horse is under your name. Now, if you want to do it, I'll tell you what to get and how to get it, and you can do it. I can't stop you from doing it because it's all your money. But he said, no, I don't want to do anything that's illegal. And I says, well, then the only choice is it is what it is. We made a mistake. And he was willing to go along with that. And thank God the horse got claimed, and at least he salvaged some of his money. Okay. Hello, David. Okay, here we go. 45 watching. Everyone is welcome to comment. Yes, sir, Jesse Black. What kind of picture is that, Jesse Black? Okay, Tommy Stiggs. He never took plea deals. He was on trial with life or death penalty and still didn't budge. You're 1,000% right. I didn't. You're 1,000% right. That's why the only thing I have is just keep an open mind with certain guys. But you're right. And I mentioned this maybe before you came on, Tommy, that he didn't play the part, he lived the part. Yeah, a lot of the years, 20, 25 years in jail, half that time in solitary confinement, and he wasn't going to budge, and he would have did the time.
Oh,
So you can't blame him for how he feels, and there's no arguing with a guy like that. So the only thing you just have to stay away from him, as far as I'm concerned. Because what else? If I ever met him, what will we talk about? How's your cheesesteak? You know, I don't know. Okay, Jesse, people are commenting, but Larry has to engage or they will stop commenting. Yeah, he's right. See, Tommy Stiggs is good at this. Tommy Stiggs, he could look at this whole thing and he'll say, hello, Jesse, and then he'll comment on what they're saying. And then he'll go Sundance, and he'll say hello to everybody on there and then comment what they were saying and then go back nonstop. I can't do that. That's why I don't want to do this podcast, but all my friends want me to keep doing it, and everybody gives me the bullshit that, oh, you're doing a great job. I know I'm not doing a great job, but whatever.
You are doing a good job, Larry. I couldn't do it.
Okay, Tommy, didn't Joey fight every case? Yeah, I think he did. Tommy would know. Tommy knows everything about all the New Jersey mob guys, and I think Tommy too. He wouldn't be mad if I said this because he said it. He went to jail for maybe 4 or 5 years, I think, but I'm not sure how long. But he was involved in that whole mob stuff, bookmaking and all of that stuff. But, now I guess he changed his life around, but knows everybody, has a good reputation. And but he's right. Joey fought every case. Sundance, Eric, I lived on white pizza. Jersey doesn't realize what real white pizza is. White pizza's got to be no sauce, I guess. I don't know.
It's ricotta.
What is it?
It's ricotta, just ricotta and mozzarella.
I think just ricotta, no?
Ricotta and mozzarella. No tomato sauce.
Eddie, you look like somebody that's in the witness protection program.
Oh, my back.
Yeah, you look like one of those guys that speaks.
I told you to fix it because now you're leaning over. Your back is going to kill you. And
What are you going to do? Life goes on.
Life goes on.
I'm a ledge.
Hey, Larry, you should claim a couple of horses and have one last run. I would still be in the business because, believe it or not, when I left the business, I got relicensed again in the year 2000, I think, something like that. It cost me a lot of money, but it was my only love, and I just had to get into it. And I raced at the Meadowlands because I live like 2 minutes from the Meadowlands, and I had a couple of horses there. Eddie Palmieri worked
Super
with,
Beetle.
and he's a good kid, Eddie.
Yeah,
Really.
you remember Super Beetle?
Yep.
Eddie Palmieri won like 15 in a row.
And me and him would take care of the horses I had, maybe 5 of them, I guess, 5 or 6. But then they closed the barn area. And once they closed the barn area, it was either drive every morning 55, 60 miles and then back. And then I just packed it in. But I could get back in if I wanted to. But now Meadowlands races 2 times a week. They have no barn area. It's the same thing. It becomes a hassle. Okay, Larry, usually neat reads comments toward the end. Eric, white pizza is the best. Pizza.
I'll go with the pizza.
They did not make any deals. He's talking about Joey Molino. He didn't make any deals. All right, but I thought I heard once on a thing that he took a plea or something, and maybe I'm wrong. But it don't make a difference. He didn't say nothing. And if it was a life sentence, he was going to take the life sentence, and I'm sure he would have. And so you can't argue with him. You just can't argue with him. You could say, look, if I says, look, just with 1 or 2 guys, just rethink. You know what he'd do? He'd say, Larry, do me a favor, get the fuck out of here. That's what he'd say. Okay, Tommy Stiggs, Jesse, unfortunately, there is no interaction with the chat, so he may not see the comments. I see the comments. I don't know what Tommy means, but I'm not good at this. Is not my thing. I'd rather be in Vegas. Eric Angeline, I'm trying to remind Larry because last Thursday's show he ended without reviewing the comments. Yeah, probably, yeah, because last Thursday I'm on with that guy Michael, and then he had to leave, and then it was me and Freddie, and I was all screwed up. Eric, I'm not in the right frame of mind for this, so I do the best I could. Tommy Dimes, we love you, Larry. Oh, thanks, Tommy. Tommy Dimes.
Larry, you got a show Thursday this week?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of people want to come on. There's a show Thursday.
Freddie's coming on.
Yeah. I made Thursday show Freddie's show. I said, do whatever you want, handle whatever you want, bring on whoever you want. But now things are getting crazy because this guy called me up. He wants to. I says you got to deal with Freddie, because Freddie, he handles all of that. So I don't know what's going to happen. He's gonna let me know tomorrow. I just got 15 pings on my. Anyway, I'm not gonna. Okay. Eric, hopefully he will see it at the end. He goes back up to the top of the chats and goes to. That's what Tommy Stiggs does. He does all of that real good. I just put the comments on, and then I do it. Okay, Sundance says hi at Tommy Dimes. I wonder if he knows him. Michael, Larry, I can offer a few hours at the barn if you need. Larry, I can offer a few hours at the barn if you need. I don't have any horses. I don't have any horses. I wish there was a barn area. I'd be there. Sundance, Tommy Dimes says hello. Hello, Tommy Dimes. Love affair starting. Eric, Sundance, Scranton 2 and cottage cheese pierogies.
Oh, delicious. What is this guy? A chef?
But yeah, I know one thing. It's amazing. They have on all these podcasts, because I go through them every afternoon when I'm doing nothing. Everyone, they said the same thing about disco and everything else. Oh, it's run its course. In the meantime, every week, new mob guy coming on, and they go on, and their first couple of shows they get thousands of views their first couple of shows. My podcast has to be on for 2 years to get it. I don't get it. So maybe
you're not a made man. That's why. What's the difference?
You know what we're gonna do. You know what we're gonna do one day. Oh, I took them all off. I have pictures that I had up of all mob guys that I had dealings with through the years, and we were gonna talk about that. Okay, let's see. Sundance. So here's 1 minute grand. Okay. Larry, do you guys see all harness tracks in New York and eventually going under? Absolutely. Yes. I think Freddie Hudson said in another 2 years there won't be one track in New York and New Jersey. Anthony, are you the same Anthony on the Monticello Raceway Memories YouTube channel? How long did you race there? I remember Neville Noble. Oh boy.
Yeah, I'm the same Anthony.
Yeah,
I raced there from 73 to about, I went to the Meadowlands around 81. So from about 73 to 81.
Let's see if I could do this. Look at this. Look at this. Talking about, I'm going to show you.
Uh-oh.
Neville Noble. Here we go.
Number 1 is Neverly Noble with John Platino.
How's that?
Very nice, consistent.
Oh, wow.
Son of Noble victory. Always gets you a check. Winner of 84,000 last year. Leaving from the rail. Early morning line favorite will be one to consider here.
The 2-horse is Keystone Sangria and leading driver John Campbell.
Last year, winner of only $25,000 in 20 starts, excuse me. As a 2 and 3, will earn $125,000 racing on the Grand Circuit. One of the horses to beat here, 4 to 1 on the morning line, leading driver John Campbell.
Number 3 is Vonda Hanover with Pat Crow.
Yeah, Vonda Hanover, 4-year-old mare by Florida Pro, who's been off to a great start as an early sire. Owned by the Cam Fella contingent from Ontario. Trainer driver Pat Crow. Made a good race last week, finished 4th, week before 2nd in his company. Will be one to consider.
The 4-horse in your picture now, Feta Sam, the driver Jack Parker Jr.
Feta Sam, Pennsylvania owned, Jacob Nursky, a pacing bred horse on the trot. Very rare, but you will see it. 16 starts last year, in the money, 13 or 16, always right there. Very consistent.
The 5 is Sir Ike and Ken Barlow.
Sir Ike, an old favorite here in the Meadowlands. Everybody knows him. Front runner, always on the lead. Will have the lead for a long way. He will be the one to catch, but there'll be a few catch him at the wire.
The 6 is Wee Hop, the driver Bill O'Donnell.
Wee Hop coming over from New York. Top money earner in the race from last year, winner of over $96,000. Driven by Bill O'Donnell. Had a choice of 2 to drive here. He liked Wee Hop. Outside chance, but maybe a little handier on a half-mile track.
Number 7 in the pink saddle cloth, George Ravona with Ron Turcott.
The only Jersey-bred horse in the race. Outside chance, not a great chance. 25 to 1 on the morning line. Winner of 71,000 last year, mostly in sire stakes.
Number 8 is Torrid Crown with Per Henriksen.
Torrid Crown, just a consistent trotter. Looks like he stays on the trot most of the time. Driven by our friend Per Henriksen from Sweden. 8-hole here, a little tough. I don't think he's quite ready for these group of horses.
Armadale Sky is number 9, and the driver is Jim Doherty.
Shipped in from Illinois, been racing in Maywood, very good, and winter's over. Trainer Harry Von Nodlock shipped in with a few horses from Illinois. Hasn't been winning a lot of races, but they've been getting money. This horse had a qualifier, came back and raced, made a break, has another qualifier, 2 good qualifiers, maybe it's outside chance tonight.
And number 10 is Herringbone with Jim King Jr. in the bike.
Last week from the rail, Herringbone got up at the last stride.
This is, I think, 1985, right, Anthony?
Yeah.
10 holes, going to be real tough from out there. I don't give him much of a chance, but might get up for a check.
Freddie, as we look down the morning
That's
line,
Freddie
Neverly
Grant.
Noble 3 to 1, Keystone Sangria at 4, a couple of horses
Yeah.
at 5, Vonda Hanover at 6. Very competitive. The public had difficulty making a favorite in this race.
I can see why, John. There's 4 or 5 horses here that can win. You got the front runners to the right. Everybody's going to be sitting behind. Whoever's going to be close to the field, close to the leader to the right, will be the horse to win.
Time to pin you down. Who do you like?
Keystone Sangria. Last week out of the 10, only a tough mile. He starts for near to the half. He had a horse at him every step of the way. Didn't get much of a breather. He's my pick. It's a good race. There's 2 or 3 horses that can win. Neverly Noble, very consistent, always knocking on the door. Feta Sam, same thing with the winner in this.
Freddie's good at that.
My choice.
Yeah, he's real good.
Okay, let's see what happens as we take a look at the final odds.
John
for the
M.
Fever
Brielle,
Feature race. Number 1,
retired,
Neverly
huh?
Noble at 2 to 1. Keystone Sangria.
He used to do the
Freddie
sports
Choice is
phone.
at 6 to 1. Vonda Hanover 5.
He
Feta
used to
Sam
been
at
out
6
to
to
Ecuador.
1. Number 5, Sir Ike is 7 to 2. Wee Hop at 5 to 1. George Ravona 99 to 1. Number 8, Torrid Crown.
This was the open trot.
9, Armadale Sky at 19, and Herringbone is 70 to 1. The 6th race, the feature event of the evening, an open trot with a purse of $20,000. Here's John.
Money
Benson.
lot. Anthony, go
And
get
they're
that
off.
money,
It's
baby.
Neverly Noble along the rail up on the outside. Sir Ike with Feta Sam. As they move on to that first turn. From the outside, it's Sir Ike now to take over the lead. Feta Sam in second. Neverly Noble along the rail third. The outside, Wee Hop is fourth. Keystone Sangria fifth. Vonda Hanover the rail sixth. Torrid Crown is seventh. And a length and a half back. George Ravona is eighth. Herringbone on the outside is ninth and trailing 10th. Armadale Sky about a quarter and 29 and 1. Down the back stretch is Sir Ike with the later length. Feta Sam second the outside. Wee Hop is third. Neverly Noble along the rail is fourth. Up on the outside. Torrid Crown is fifth by a head with Keystone Sangria sixth. And a length and a half back. Von de Hanover is 7th. Herringbone on the outside 8th. George Ravona is 9th. Armadale Sky 10th. Divide the half from 59 and 2. On to the far turn, and Sir Ike leads it by a length. Better Sam is second. On the outside, Weehawk walked out 3rd. Neverly Noble along the rail 4th. With Taurus Crown in 5th. Keystone Sangria 6th. Herringbone on the outside 7th. Von de Hanover is 8th. Up on the outside, Armadale Sky 9th. Trailing 10th, George Ravona. They move by the 3/4 mark. And it's still Sir Ike leading it by a length. Better Sam along the rail in second. 3/4, 1:30 and 3. As the field turns for home. Sir Ike in front by a length. Better Sam is second. Neverly Noble in between horses. Along the rail gaining is Keystone Sangria. Better Sam. Here comes Neverly Noble on the outside. Along the rail, Keystone Sangria. Their heads apart.
Freddie, this is as tight a photo as you can get without producing a dead heat.
John, I thought you made me look good here. I picked Keystone Sangria, slipped through on the rail, had a real good trip. Johnny played the waiting game, but did not get there. It looked to me like he did. Watch here, you'll see Better Sam move up from behind the front runner, Sir Ike, like we expected. Johnny Platina right on his back with Neverly Noble. But here comes Keystone Sangria on the rail. Looks like he's going to get home. Watch for Neverly Noble on the outside, going to get up on the last side. Sir Ike making a break, giving Johnny a little more room. Keystone Sangria on the rail. Better Sam in between. Here comes Neverly Noble on the outside with the last spin.
Boy, the outside horse gets it.
I really thought this was 2-horse one from where I was.
Wow.
The official photo right there, winning by the slightest of noses. And the number 4, Feather Sam, another good race with 7-2. Only got
By half a nose.
outside horse usually wins those photos.
And it does
Now,
in this case, Freddie, the outside horse, number 1, Neverly Noble with John Platino.
I learned how to get it on. Now I forgot how to get it off. How the hell do I get it off? Remove from stage. There it is. Okay. So to the guy who asked, Anthony, you to say, yes, it is. That's him. He bought that horse for $5,000 from Ron Rinn and
Yep.
turned him into a really nice horse. Okay, continue with these comments. Larry, I was listening. I heard all of you. So the comment you put up was from earlier. Okay, Tommy Dimes, why didn't you seek new owners? The game at that time when the barn area closed and everything, they were heavily into drug use with the horses, and I had no desire to go that route. And so I between everything that happened, I just got out. Me and Eddie, I had about 5 or 6 horses. We go there every day, spend all day there, then go to lunch, and it was just a good time. But and I raced my horses, and we did all right. We win a lot of races, but the game changed. And when they closed the barn area, that was it.
It ruined everything. It was the beginning and the end. We had so much
Yeah,
fun.
that's a shame.
We had so much fun. We had like one big family at the racetrack. You know, we just had a good time all the time.
Okay, Tommy Stiggs says, who's made? Okay, you see what happens every time you start talking about this mob stuff, especially with Joey Molino? It's alleged that he was a made guy. Who knows? I don't know. That's what I said, Tommy, if that's what you're talking about. I have no idea. Larry, did you research who that terrible driver who parked the horse in a suicide duel of that
Yes.
you showed?
Who was it?
Burgett, his name was Burgett.
Oh, Fern Paget?
Yeah. Because
Fern
I was looking through some win pictures, and I had another trotter I had sent to Jim Curran up in Monticello. His name was Meep Meep. And he won, and Austerity was third, and that's who was up to drive him. So I'm just guessing that he was the driver.
Fern Paquette.
Yeah.
There was a father and son.
It was.
Yep.
It's with a B.
No, Fern was with an F.
No. This was with a B. I'll tell you.
Benoit Cote.
No, he was a good driver.
No.
Yeah, very good. Yeah.
You
I
talk
remember
about his
around-
last name with a B or his first name?
His last name here. Wait,
Oh.
I got it right here. It's Burgett.
Oh, Burgess.
Burgett. It's Burge. It
SS
looks like TT.
Burgett.
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 I don't even know what you guys are talking about.
That horse with fire and smoke that I won in Monticello, where he was battling it out with Farm Vicky, who was cutting the mile.
Oh,
Remember they went
Fought
head
out
and
the
head?
whole mile. He wouldn't take the 2 holes. Started whipping him at the 5/8.
yeah. That wasn't Fern Piquet.
No, I don't think so. Fern was a good driver.
Yeah,
And
no, his last name. Well, I don't know. That's who drove him in another race. So
Larry, do you remember when I got called in at Monticello from the Racing Commission? No, I don't. I hope it wasn't because of me. Who was made? Joey never convicted of being made or being a boss. No evidence. You see what I mean? This is exactly what I'm talking about. It's exactly what I said. Everybody who says it, they got to use the word alleged. So I understand all of that. But in the meantime, Tommy, and these are the things that I'd like to talk to you about when we have dinner. I've been around a lot of guys my whole life, as you have. I live with a lot of them, or they live with me. Joey's father was a heavyweight guy. Joey grew up in that life, admittedly. Okay, Joey, there's 1,000 videos of him doing what he's doing, hanging out, doing this, doing that. He is very, very, very sharp. When he went on these interviews with Val and all of these things, how he answers the questions and everything else, I have to sit there and laugh. But he's a very, very sharp guy and a very, very smart guy. But you have to remember, there's a lot of people around that know the other side to every story. And sometimes some of these things get back to me, not only about Joey, about other things. You forget that when Joey was a jockey, I don't want to even get into that, but there's a lot of things that I could say that I know about Joey, but I don't know him personally. So I don't say him, because the bottom line is, whatever he did, whoever he was, whether he was or whether he wasn't, he was convicted and paid the price. He went to jail. He did the time. And I know that some of them were life sentences, and he stood tall and he did everything. But sometimes it's a little much, and it's better not to not even to mention that.
Larry,
What?
do you still have that Frankie Lacasio's funeral procession?
Yes.
Could you play a little bit of that? People
Oh,
would like to see that.
I don't have it on. I have to upload it. I don't know how to do
okay.
that. Yeah,
That
I don't know how to do that. And another thing, talking to Tommy Stakes, is that, look, Joey did what he did. I give him all the credit in the world. And like I said, I'm older than him, so he basically followed in my footsteps, because there were 2 times in my life when I could have ratted and got away for nothing, and got away with nothing. But there were 2 times in my life I got barred for life, and it cost me millions of dollars to get back. So Joey basically, so I know how he feels and everything else. But when you say Joey never was convicted of being made or being a boss, no evidence of that at all. Okay. Okay. What can I say?
I'll leave it at that.
Okay, we'll just leave it at that.
The rent stays the same.
I never went to jail for fixing all them races at Aqueduct and Belmont, and we'll leave that at that.
Yep.
But it got done. Okay. Alleged means no evidence, right? No evidence.
Likely, but not proven.
It don't mean no evidence. It means no provable evidence. See, that's what happens when you get involved in this mob bullshit. You know, you just, and you get a guy like Joey, you can't, because 90% of the way I'm on Joey's side. It's just the fact I could give a fuck less if he was the boss of all the 5 families. It don't make no difference to me. I dealt with them all. I know them all. It makes no difference to me. But it's hard for me. It's hard for me to swallow certain statements that were made. So it's best that I don't comment at all. But the bottom line is, he walked the walk and talked the talk, and that was it. And nobody can take that away. And that's why he can go to Rayos, he can go to Florida, he can go in any place he wants, and he's 100% safe. Now, I will say this. I'm not sure if this whole thing that's happening now with the Skinny with the Skinny Molino podcast, and good for him, would he still be around if this took place 40 years ago? And I think we all know the answer. So, whatever.
That's what I was saying.
Okay. Tommy Six, nobody owes me anything. I'm happy to help. I'm just a few blocks away. You can call me anytime. I am going to call you, Tommy, because there's that place that I can't think of the name of it, and I never been there, but even Joey Molino was there. He talks about it all the time, that where they have the chicken Savoy or something, that they're famous for it. It's right where you live. I would like to buy you dinner there one night. I'd never been there. And I think you know the place I'm talking about. It's very famous, and it's right down the street from me, and I think it's right down the street from you. But he's right. I can call him anytime, and there he is. And I am going to call you one day. One of these days I'm going to call you. But I know that he also does something at night, too. He's a very busy guy. Okay. In fact, Tommy, if you want, put in the comments what night you're available, and I'll call you, and we'll go to that place, whatever the place is that's famous for the chicken Savoy or whatever, where Tommy Stiggs went. I never been there. Everybody talks about it, and I never been there. Okay, let's see. Hi, fellas. Did any of you race against Kevin Wallace? He was deadly in the equalizer bike. I race against him all the time in Florida.
I raced against him.
Yeah, he got in some kind of trouble, I think.
I don't know. There was a mix-up story about. We went through this before. I don't know if he did or didn't, but he was a good.
Joe, here's a political question for you, Joe.
Okay,
Joe, with no cell phones in 1775, if Pete Hetzler was the Secretary of Defense back then, do you think he would have Paul Revere let the British know they were coming? Only the best. Larry, hope you are well. I am well. Okay.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
No, that was read wrong. Michael is a rat. What's it? No. That was read wrong. Michael is a rat. All right.
Wow.
Larry, did you not say that Michael is a rat? No, I never said nothing. All I said pertaining to Michael is that Joey said that Sonny, his father, Sonny Franchise, was a rat because he talked to Michael who Joey says is a rat. So he says his father's a rat for talking to his son, who's a rat. I didn't say it. I don't know. I didn't see his 302s. I have no idea if Michael's a rat or not.
Michael's not a rat, and Sonny's definitely not a rat.
All right. Well, anyway, so I didn't say it. Larry did. I did not say that Michael is a rat. No, I didn't say that. You said it. I said that Joe Molino said it, that Sonny Franchise is a rat because he talked to his son. I saw that.
You said I'm all right, Spider.
Okay. I went by Tommy because of you, Larry. I've been following you for a while. Okay. Everybody should go to Tommy. It's very entertaining, especially if you don't have to leave for work until like 8:30. Have your coffee, just put him on, and it's very, very entertaining. A lot of good information, and he's a good guy, and he does this really, really good. I could never do it. He acknowledges everybody, answers all questions, and then he has 1 or 2 topics for the day. It's really good. Larry, were you aware that Fat Tony Shula was buying horses off of Johnny Campo during the 70s and setting up races? Yeah, I knew about that. Well, I shouldn't say that. They had 1 or 2 dealings, and they had 1 or 2 dealings. The problem I had with Shula was that I wasn't with him all the time. Anthony's uncle, Con Erico, was with him all the time. I couldn't control him. He was doing a lot of things that I told him not to do. He was getting involved. He wanted to make believe he was like the biggest thing, the best thing. And, I didn't want to talk bad about Johnny Campo because he's not around anymore. He can't defend himself. His son is still alive. I don't know if he's in the business anymore. But, yeah, he had some dealings with Johnny Campo. I knew about.
Yeah,
it.
JP is still in the game.
His son?
Yeah, he's an agent. He's an agent for Jose
he's an
Lozano.
agent? Yeah, well, I knew him when he was training. He was training horses.
He was a race secretary too in Aqueduct.
Was he? I couldn't stay around him too much. He talked too much, just nonstop.
Oh, Chiacchierone.
Yeah, yeah. But Johnny Campo, he was a heavyweight there, and I knew about it. And Tony was warned not to have any dealings with anybody, to stay so low. It was not his job to do what Anthony here, his uncle Con Erico, was supposed to do. All Tony was to do was get the numbers and call me up and bet. That's all. But he was doing all this other stuff. And because he was doing a lot of stuff and didn't follow my lead, he wound up getting caught, and that was that. Even though
he got greedy.
He got greedy. He was just a big
Mama Luke.
That piece of shit.
Yeah, big piece of shit. That's what he was.
Big Mama Luke.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go, Sundance. Let me ask you guys something. If you see a girl get thrown in a car and driven away, would you consider yourself a rat? Let me ask you guys something. If you see a girl get thrown in a car and driven away, would you consider yourself a rat?
No.
If you took a license plate number, no.
No. And more no.
No, and no.
I would go after that car.
Yeah, really.
I think a rat only really applies in the mob genre, in that whole life. I think that's where because in every phase of business, everybody is looking for an edge. Whether it's
Joe. Okay, Joe.
Yeah, I fell on my head.
You should have got one of those things that Larry wants to give you.
I got a picture stand and a roll of tape. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
I can't afford you guys. I can't afford the stuff you guys got.
Put it in the ice cream cone.
Yeah.
Okay, Sundance says
An
I
ice
love
cream,
Dr.
ice cream
DeLeo.
cone.
Nah, no, he was a good guy, Dr. DeLeo.
Dr. DeLeo is a good guy, yeah.
Great vet, died too soon. And you know that we used to go to lunch every day, and then I would help him all afternoon. He would drink green tea. His diet was like unbelievable. Like he was so afraid of getting sick and this and that and he wound up getting cancer. And do you know the day before he died, I think he had appointments to show up at Ray Remon's barn, and he did. And I think he died the next day. He was an unbelievable guy, really good guy.
We had a lot of good vets in our days.
Balmer was the other vet that was there.
I love Dr. Balmer.
Yeah.
Dr. Balmer. Remember Dr. Johnson? Blonde-headed guy?
Dr. Johnson, yeah.
Dr.
What about Dr. Nolan?
Dr. Nolan.
Dr. Brennan, Dr.
Dr.
Cassidy?
Brennan, Dr.
I used
Howard,
Dr.
Dr.
Nolan.
Fine, Dr. Howard.
When Nolan first got out of school, the first job was with Dr. Steele.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Dr. Steele.
Yeah.
What about the pipe? What was
Pipe.
his name? Doc Roosevelt. They called him
Carter,
Pipe.
Dr. Carter.
Carter, yeah.
Dr. Carter, yeah.
Carter. Yeah, he died of cancer too. They
Yeah.
say he died when because remember years back the how you would treat splints instead of blistering them, they had radium pellets.
Yeah, that was Sadowski.
That's
Yeah.
a job.
Radiant
Well,
pellets, yeah.
Sadowski was the only one that kept doing it.
Right.
And I was the only one that would help Sadowski with the radium pellets because everybody was afraid because they said Dr. Carter died because he was using radium pellets to put in curbs and splints and stuff like
Never
that.
know.
Yeah.
Okay, a few weeks
What about
ago,
Dr.
I made a
Butler?
suggestion that Yonkers should run
Judge Butler was all right.
a race with 6 on the gate and 2 trailers. Someone at Oak Ridge, they ran a 5-8 mile race, 8 on the gate, 2 trailers. So exciting. Total chaos. Well, I don't know. What that means total chaos or so exciting. I don't know. But
Double punch.
okay. Do we have any winners coming up?
Yeah.
No. Joe Eddie has 2 horses in Thursday that'll be on the board. 2 in the same place.
On May, if anybody, could listen, May 3rd, I'll have a definite solid winner.
May
The
3rd.
horse claimed. They just claimed this horse. Yeah.
You claimed another one?
Yeah, I claimed the horse called Quiet Wisdom off Todd Pletcher. What a
Okay.
nice horse. He's by Into Mischief. And I just bought a 2-year-old out of Golden Sense down in Florida. I just brought it to the track today, first time. Very well broken, very well educated, calm. No, she wasn't fractious, scared of anything on the track. She's nice little filly. So we're getting there, Larry. I need help.
He says, Smaggle says, you're a natural 44 watching. You know how many Molino would have watching now? 10,044. And every other
That's a
podcast.
lot.
Okay, Frank Pissarro Jr. trained 16 or so winners in a row. Didn't any steward or official get suspicious at 10 in a row? Eddie, you know that guy?
Well, I tell you what, I win 4 races in a month of March, and they swarmed in like flies. They took spot check, blood, everything. I don't know what Frankie Pissarro what they did with him, but with this Heiser and everything, they're just totally, I just really don't even want to get into it.
I won 8 out of 9 races one Saturday night.
You did? You
Yeah,
won 8 out of 9 races?
8 out of 9 on a Saturday night.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
You drove?
You know what the owner said to me? I went up to the restaurant afterwards to see the owner. I was proud as a peacock. He asked me what happened to the horse that finished 5th. Imagine that. I went 8 out of 9, and he says, "What happened to Balthazar? He finished 5th."
I didn't bet him. You should have.
That was the next week when Hervé drove all my horses for me that week because someone didn't show up, and Hervé was driving most of them. And I said to him, the closes he was racing on the front end, and the front end horses, he was pulling them first over, and it was just you could tell it was, it wasn't my night. But he didn't say nothing to me, and I got upset. And that's the night I said, Herb, man, you shouldn't do that to me. He said, what are you talking about? I said, Hervé, come on. I says, last week you raced them on the front end where they're supposed to be. You win. This week you're taking them off the gate. Horses that race from behind you're leaving with. You could have got great trips with some of them. You stayed on the wood. He said, kid, you got some imagination. I'll never forget it. And that Monday is when they locked him up. They took him out of the paddock 2 days later. And I said, Herb, some imagination, huh?
There's one driver, I said, hey, listen, I want you to leave. That's Jonkers. I want you to leave. He said, well, wait till we get the inside. I said, we got the rail. You want to go any closer? So I said, come on, I own the horse. He says, you know what? For 2 minutes, I own him. I said, I'm dead.
All right, Eddie, here's one for you. How did the two horses look on Thursday? He already said that.
I think I should win. I should win.
Okay.
The fourth race.
Katie Davis horse interests me. Numbers are compatible to the field, and the horse is 12-1 more in line.
Yeah, that's my horse. I put Katie Davis on because she got light hands. All these other guys, they take a hold of her, and she displaces, and you just gotta drop her hands and just let her go, man, nice and easy, and she'll run into the bridle. And yeah, that's the horse called Troubled Luck. That's the horse that went paid $44.
Displaces without explaining. People don't know what that means. You can't say she got light hands because if you grab him, he'll displace. They don't know what that means. Tell them what it means.
Well, they're pallid. They choke down.
Right. Okay. That's enough. Okay. Seems like Neville Noble went a vicious last 16th every video we see. Yeah, he did. He did. Anthony did a hell of a job with that horse.
Thank you.
Okay. I like when the Meadowlands had the carnival at the track. Yeah, the horses loved it too.
Yeah, especially at Yonkers.
What about the racing when they had the stock car racing?
Yeah.
Okay, Sonny's other son, John, was a real rat. Yeah, he ratted on his. Yeah, well, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, he wore a wire for years.
Okay, Lou, would that kid who gave you the numbers do the same thing? I doubt it. Fine line between stubborn and reality. Well, what are you going to do?
You know that, Larry.
Sundance, do you guys remember the Horse Village jackpot?
Yep.
Larry, forgive yourself is the first step to get over it. Forgive yourself is the first step to get over it. How do you get over something like that?
Nothing you could do, Larry.
Yeah, that's it.
And you know what? No one's ever going to know the right answer to that question.
Nope.
No, I know, but if it's 50-50, if the answers I get are 50-50, one way I would have had millions of dollars and doing for the last 40 years what I love to do, and the other way, it brought me park benches and eating out of dumpsters and stuff like that. So, it's I mean, that's not the way it is now, but that's the way. That was part of the journey because I did what I did. I didn't.
The worst thing is about they knew who it was. They gave you the name.
Yeah,
they knew who it was.
Yeah, but
you know what I'm saying? All you had to do is nod your head and say, "Yeah."
Yeah, I know.
It's like not that they didn't know.
Well, it was really 4 of them, but there was only one that gave me the numbers.
Right. Exactly.
But they knew. But
I'll tell you what, They didn't appreciate it. That's for sure. That's what I'd be pissed at. You did the right thing. They did the wrong thing.
Sundance is going to be a grandmother for the first time. Congratulations, Sundance.
Salud.
Congratulations.
Okay, Eric is one of the who put the chili peppers or hot sauce on the horse's tongue.
The chef.
Is that true?
What
Is
happened?
Can you read that?
Pizarro is the one that put the chili peppers
On the horse? Is that true?
Nah, they put it on the rub rag and they put it under the tail.
Yeah.
That's all. Because they sweat and that's where they rub, they shave. You know. Hey, whatever you want to use. You want to use hot sauce or you want to use curry powder? What do you want?
Nice show. Thanks, gentlemen. Thank you. Okay, another fabulous show by the four wise men of racing. That's all the comments we have. So
I'm gonna Larry, I'm gonna go to bed, man. I'm tired.
yeah, we're all done. It's been 2 hours.
Oh wow.
So we're done. Don't the time fly? Everybody says it's too long, but the time goes fast. Anyway,
I got a question for you guys. See if anybody of you can answer this. The word news, like the nightly news.
News.
How do you think they got the word news? Do you know the origin of that? The origin of news?
No.
You know what it is? North, east, west, and south.
Oh, right on.
Imagine that.
Well, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So you know,
You
so
can
you
teach
know how
your
they
old
got
dog
the
new
word?
tricks.
Joey, you didn't get my Larry. You got my my messenger, right? Didn't you?
You what?
That thing I sent on you to on Messenger, Facebook.
I didn't get it. You tried to send it to me.
Yeah, but you didn't get it.
I can't get it.
When did you send it?
Oh, the other day. It's about 2021 when the Democrats let 200 and something thousand immigrants into the country, and when they got the asylum, they got Social Security cards and driver's license. In 22, there was 500 and something. Then it went up to a million. Then in 24, to get the Democratic votes, they went 3 million people got Social Security cards and driver's license after they got to the asylum.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just looked. I got it, but I didn't open it. I didn't see it.
Ask Joey Merlino, what's the last 3 letters in Democrat?
Rat.
Thank you.
Well, I hope.
Sorry, Shaman.
I hope Stiggs ain't mad at me, but
Why should he be mad at you?
well, because because Tommy's on the same page and is Joey Molino and I just it's and Tommy is his good friend, and you could see by his comments that he just sticks up for him, alleged, and it's just like Hervé Fillon was alleged that fixed 6 out of the 10 races every day at Freehold Raceway, but he was never convicted. Why? Because it was alleged that he did it. So but when it's just and it's not even fair to talk about it. Look, whatever it is, it's over and done. All I could do is tell you this: is that Joey Molino's a very, very sharp guy, a very, very smart guy, and he talked the talk and he walked the walk, and it is what it is, and
It is what it is.
It is. It is what it is, and you can use the word alleged all you want. And the problem I have is they never use that word alleged to me. When the racing commission says, when the judge says, Tannenbaum says you got 24 hours to get all your horses off the ground, and I said why, they didn't say because you're alleged to have stiffed the horse in the fourth race.
He has the right as owner to do that, and that's what sucks.
So the word alleged gets you out of a lot of trouble and a lot of stuff, and anyway, but it's all beside the point. 25 years in jail, half the time in the thing, and he was grown up in that life. Hey, I remember there was a guy, I'm not going to mention his name, and well, maybe I'm not going to mention his name. But anyway, he was a real good guy and a good friend. And one day his father came up, and we were sitting having dinner at Joe Rico's father's place. And he was saying, yeah, I hate cops. Cops are fucking rats. Cops this, cops, I hate them, I hate them, I hate them, and hate it. And that's the way he brought his kid up. And his kid was my good friend, but he hated cops. Why? No reason, because that's how I was raised. You know, so what are you going to do? And you're it's very, very, very difficult to be a Joey Molino and have his father part of the mob there and grow up in that whole environment, and everybody that you're around, whether they be kids or grown-ups, they're all part of that thing. And it's very, very difficult not to grow up in that. And then when all these killings started back and forth, the bombings and this and that and everything else, and even Joey got shot a few times.
Yeah.
And then when you see there's a handful of people left, and one of them is a good-looking guy with black hair slicked back with big sunglasses on, and his name happens to be Joey Molino, and they said, well, he's the alleged mob boss, and but never convicted of that. So you could say that all you want, and it could be true. So who knows? But I know one thing. I know what I know, and I know what I was told, and I'm not talking just about Joey Molino. I'm talking about things in general, and so it's hard to shove something down my throat when I heard other stories from very, very reliable people, and certain meetings that took place, certain people that showed up to these meetings and everything else, and you're not just a numbers runner, coming into certain places to meet certain people. So we just leave it the way it is. He did the time. He played the game. He did the time. He had no choice but to live the life he lived. He was raised in that life. He had no other choice. So, but he's a very, very sharp guy and a very, very smart guy. And I really believe that I know one thing. I lost a lot of money, and so did you, Joe.
Yeah,
I had to pay every penny. I had to pay every penny back, and I knew a lot of people. But when you owe the money, you can't go to these other people
because you're wrong.
You're wrong. They got to pay it.
You took a shot.
Yeah, you took a shot.
The only breaks I got was people died. Those are the only breaks I got with owing money.
I never even got that break.
Oh, I got a couple of those.
I just had to do what I had to do. So, if you want to, but you'd never have this discussion, and it's really not fair to have this discussion. Why? He did what he did, and he is what he is right now. He's a very, very, very successful restaurant guy, entrepreneur, and this and that. But he has a past, and the past is well known to a lot of people in that life. So, you could say what you want to say, do what you want to do. All I know was one thing. I have a lot of respect for the guy because of he don't just talk the talk, he walks the walk. So, and I don't want to argue with anybody over Joey Molino or anybody else, because I will, if I ever did sit face to face with him and he was handcuffed to a chair and a table where he couldn't get up and just say, I'm a fucking rat too, I would just like to ask his opinion to about certain guys that become government informants, because the people that gave him the oath didn't live up to the oath themselves. And what are you supposed to do? You're just supposed to be a fucking mutt and lay down and die. Now, a lot of people would say that somebody like Joey, who did the time, say he's fucking nuts. I could name four guys in the Genovese mob that really, really good stand-up guys that did the same thing Joey did. And so I understand. I understand it. It's the old and that stuff. It's almost like well, the older guys, they're 20 years older than Joey now, but that was pounded into his head. It's almost like being brainwashed. It's almost like living in a cult, because that's basically what it is. You grow up a certain way, and then you spend 25 years in jail, and half of them crimes, they were life sentences, and there was one time when he went to jail for 2 years for making a bet. He stood up. So we shouldn't even be talking about it.
The other thing is, back then, before the RICO law, the time they did was minimal. Now it went from 2 years, 3 years to 30, 40 years. So it's a big difference. When the government shows you that they have it, that there's a hit out on you, they have to expose that to you. Now, if they show you a recording that your best friend is going to whack you this week, what do you do at that point? Is that being a rat, or you know what I'm saying? You're protecting yourself. What can you do?
Yeah, but that's something you can't make that argument with Joey Molino, because he won't sit and listen to it. But
if Joey Molino heard a tape of somebody on a phone conversation and they let him hear the tape, would he say, okay, I'm not saying I'll let them shoot me? I mean, come on. It's just common sense that, hey, these guys are betraying me. They're the rats. And a rat should be, in his book, a rat should be killed. So he should do it first.
All I know is that from what I hear, from what I heard through the years, long, long time ago, from the time he was a jockey, all I heard was that that in every major step along the way with that crew, he was right in the middle of it all the time. So, whatever. Maybe he wasn't a made guy. Maybe he was just like Joe Watts with the Gambino crew. Who knows? I don't know. All I know is that he did the time, and you got to give him all the credit in the world for that. And when somebody does that, if they have a belief that everybody that's a rat is just a fucking rat and they want to have nothing to do with him, you have to honor that. And I honor it, and that's as much as I'll say, but don't try to shove it down my throat, because there's a lot of things that are out there that anyway, it is what it is. Hey, Eddie, I thought you were going to bed. Go to bed.
Do me a favor.
What?
Tell that guy that wrote that story, thank you for his service. And I was there in 1961 to 1963.
Where?
I was in Nam. Was the 2nd of the 70th Infantry Division. I was there.
I didn't know that, Eddie.
Yeah.
I didn't know that neither.
Wow.
Yeah,
I got to treat you with more respect.
No, what the hell's the difference, I was a
No,
ground pound.
I respect that, Eddie.
I like to show you something here, but because I don't want to talk loud and I don't want it to be known. But this you got to see and read.
No, put it up more by your face. Put it back more to you. That's it. All right, now straighten it out.
Wait a minute, I bet. Oh, you can't see it.
Yeah, we could see. Who is that?
I don't want to. I
Can't
don't
see
want.
it.
I'll call you and let you know. But this is his real name.
What are you talking about?
I'll talk to you privately. I can't do it on. I can't do this. I'll show.
You better call me after the show is over because
Yeah.
I want to know.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah, wait a minute. I'm going to end the show now, and oh no, once I end it, we won't be on no more. So, well, yes,
I'll call you. 2 seconds. As soon as you end it, I'll call you.
No, if you end live, it will, shouldn't it?
If I
Yeah,
end
you
live,
can end live and we
I
could
think.
talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, like before you go on.
Yeah.
all right. Let me end live now. Good night, folks. Thank all you
Good
guys.
night, everybody.
Yeah, good night, everybody.
Good night, and we'll see you Thursday. Thursday, Freddie promises me it'll be a real good show. So I'll see you. Now I'm going to end it right now.